for being with us. My name is Tomasz Piaskowski. I am representing Polon Alpha from Poland. We are a leading Polish manufacturer of fire alarm detection systems and smoke control systems. So the mother of my today, this system work. But before we start, did you know 2030 how many fires were in 23 countries? It's the general information, but still, what can we do? What can we do? How can we help using a smoke control system? But why people are dying? Why are the reasons and factors? First, hot gases. This is a danger. Another one, smoke. Next one, toxic substances. Lack of oxygen. Flames? Not really. It's not the point. It's not the most important factors. So what can we do to help them? I don't want everybody to suffer from fire. Yeah? So what can we do? Of course, to use a smoke ventilation system to release the gases from the building. That's the main principle. So what should the system do? Enable safe evacuation. We've got the procedures usually. So the system, by evacuating smoke, should increase also the visibility in the building, just for people to see where to go. Of course, they should follow signs. Emergency lighting is also very useful here. But first, the evacuation ways must be clear from smoke. Reduce the toxic gases. At the same time, by removing smoke, we are reducing these dangerous gases. We are lowering the temperature as well, to help them survive, to help them evacuate, to decrease, to save as many human beings as possible. And what is the UCF 6000? What is the smoke control system? This is a separate control panel that can be connected. That can also be a standalone control panel and can be connected also to other fire alarm systems. But the most important thing you can see on this picture on the right side, the panel itself has got its own power supply, its own batteries. So even if your main fire system is not working, this control panel is still working. It is still opening dampers. It is still removing those gases, lowering temperatures, and enables safe evacuation from the building. There is many applications in Poland, in Europe, when you don't even use a fire detection and alarm system, but you are using smoke ventilation. Many small applications like kindergartens, for example, to help kids to evacuate in case of any fire situation. Now, how it works? How are those inputs? How are outputs? What can we do? So the panel itself has got its own conventional detectors. So basically, based on the information from these detectors, we can activate the panel. There are also dedicated buttons, smoke ventilation buttons, to activate the ventilation procedures. It can work, as I mentioned, with another third-party fire alarm and detection systems. And if it is on the loop, it is working with our addressable polon 4000 or polon 6000 control panels that you can see here on the wall. Another feature is that you can use this panel for daily ventilation purposes. Whenever you want, you can refresh the air in the building, but by opening same dampers or windows, that you normally use for fire and for smoke evacuation. You can connect a rain and wind sensor, which will protect your devices during the daily ventilation against destroying because of the heavy wind, for example. Using a button, you can acknowledge the alarm or you can reset the alarm. These are inputs, but outputs, many types of dampers, fire curtains, ventilation fans. This is all that you can control using outputs of this smoke control panel. The panel itself is also equipped with a fault and alarm relay. So using these dry contacts, you may integrate the system with another systems in the building. Now, you can see a map of our system, what we are manufacturing, what kind of systems we can integrate together. And a part of this is a smoke ventilation controller. It is sitting on the loop, so you may see it here. This is a part of the addressable loop, and the communication between the smoke control system, the smoke control panel, and fire detection and alarm control panel is by the protocol, and it is done by the loop. So if there is a reset, if there is a need to reset the system, if there is no more fire, it's just a single press on the reset button on the main fire detection and alarm system, and all the dampers are closed, dampers on the roof are closed, dampers on ventilation ducts are open, and everything back to the normal operation. System components. The system is very flexible. We have several modules to integrate, to use with the panel. We start with one zone with 4 or 8 amperes for those drivers to activate them, to power them. But one zone is just the beginning. The maximum is 8 zones, and we can again multiple those panels by adding another panels with another zones. All of them connected to the addressable loop. So we have a main controller of the system, MSG60, this is the controller. It provides the connection for rain and wind sensor. There are supervised alarm outputs. And also on the board here there is one zone for those dampers, for those outputs. If the control panel, smoke ventilation control panel, shall work with the addressable system, then it has to be equipped with this small PCB which provides the digital integration. It gives the address, logical address to this UCS, and then the main fire alarm control panel can see it and can work with this panel. Next one is an optional output and input card that can also work with the system, with the control unit. Another one is a zone module. This is another module, so you can expand the panel with another and another and another module up to 8. Depends on the number of dampers you have to open, you have to control. Next one is the output and input part. This is a power supply unit. So we are using also a power supply unit to distribute the power in the control panel to charge batteries, to supervise batteries, because again the panel itself is also equipped with batteries. And talking about the power supply units and batteries, the picture on the right corner represents the panel, the biggest option, with 8 zones, but every 2 zones are powered with the separate power supply, and it has got separate batteries connected. So whenever the system is not working, at least one section is not working or other are working. This is all to provide a high level of security, to enable again the evacuation, to remove the smoke, to keep the system working. This is the multi-output card, so we have two high voltage outputs, we have two monitoring outputs for another purposes, because you can control over another dampers, another fans to help the evacuation. This is the call point, the button that you can manually activate the system. So the signal can come from either another panel, our panel, or just somebody can activate it by pressing this button. There are several options with LEDs, with the confirmation, with the system status, with the reset button. Depends on the application you want to use it. And now the power supply unit itself. Different power, three options, 150, 240, 500 watts. Depends on the number of zones you want to power. You can use one out of those three power supply units. And the summary of this. The UCS 6000, first of all, is a very flexible device, very useful control panel to help evacuate people from the building in case of any fire danger. Versatility and functionality. So many versions, many types of the control panel. Competitive price. Many standard features that it is on the panel. Easy adjustment of functions and parameters to the real needs of the facility that you want to use it. Next, fast and easy configuration with the computer. Possibility to integrate with our addressable systems and the technical support that we provide for our customers. So this is brief introduction to the smoke control panels, which as I mentioned at the beginning, this is something new on the market here. The most important thing, I think, is to understand why you should use this kind of control panels instead of regular dry contacts or outputs from the control panels you are already using. So the most important thing is that whenever the main fire detection and alarm system is not working due to some reasons, the smoke control panel can still work and help to evacuate people. So thank you for your attention. If there are any questions, it's the time to ask. Thank you also online viewers to be with us. So are there any questions?
Hi, thank you for the presentation. Just can you clarify more, how do you connect the power dampers to the panel? Is it dry contacts or how is it done? And how do you do the activation? Is it all together or one by one?
Okay. Thank you for the question. We connect dampers using a potential outputs. There are on each zone card there is one output, and the output is giving 24 volts power. And it is most efficient when you use the dampers which are with the motor actuator. So you can open them and close them automatically by the panel. So there is no need any body action. And depending on the size of the damper itself, it requires more or less power. So that's why we have either 4 or 8 amperes outputs. And this is a question of the configuration of the panel itself. You can open all the dampers together, so activate all the zones together, or you can activate them one by one, depending on the scenario and situation in the building.
In case of interface with the different manufacturer panel. Okay. this interface with different control panels. Do you need like signal from each tool?
It is this is a question of the programming, because from the control panel, from the another control panel, there is one input dedicated to get the fire signal from another panel. And then again, this is the configuration of our panel itself. When the fire alarm is coming from third-party product, then what to do? Which kind of dampers we should open? Okay.
Hi.
Hello.
Good morning. My name is Abdul Hadi from Civil Defense. Just excellent in Saudi Arabia. My question is that if I am having in the hospital, any room in the hospital, for example, what's the best time or the best way to exit the smoke from the room to outside of the hospital? When the window not allowed to open the window?
You are not allowed to open window.
Yeah, not allowed. The policy cannot open the window. What's the best way to exit the smoke from the room to outside of the hospital?
Okay. This is the question dedicated somehow more to the mechanical part, yes, because we are focusing on the controller only. Yeah, we are giving a signal to open any dampers or something, but the hospital example, what you can do, you can use some dedicated ventilation ducts, not for a normal ventilation, but for the fire ventilation. So if you cannot open windows or something like this, you can use a ventilation duct which will remove the smoke from the inside of the building. So you must activate fans which will take the smoke away.
If I have, for example, more than 200 rooms, how can I design the ducts to take the smoke from the smoke to go outside?
No, okay.
Hello, my name is Krzysztof Patrycki, polon alfa as well. I'm a technical support engineer. This question is fully right, because actually when there is a hospital, when there is a fire in the hospital, we should remove the smoke. You're right. But about the ventilation, we can design the whole fire ventilation just for fire condition, or we can try to keep the smoke just in this particular room and evacuate people just in this room, close this room and keep the smoke and fire just in this room, and then remove the smoke from the corridors. So we can design operation of the system to operate this way, to remove the smoke from the corridors, keep the room closed, to not allow the smoke to spread outside of this particular room. Just evacuate those people from this room and close it, keep the fire there. Next thing, we can also make a difference, because the fire ventilation uses the pressure control. So it means there will be a pressure which is pushed, more air, we are pushing more air outside of the building to the corridor, open the doors for the rooms and push the smoke via fire ventilation. So the fresh air will go with higher pressure, will be pushed inside the corridor, pushed into the room, and then we will push away via the special ventilation for fire conditions. This is the separate system just for fire ventilation. So excluding the air conditioning. The air conditioning is natural, we are using because there is a hot inside the hospitals, or especially in this area during the summer. But we need to prepare the special separate system for the fire ventilation, just to remove the smoke. And this in this case we will use special pressure pushing to push out the smoke through the fresh air for the corridors and for the window and for the doors and rooms, and push it outside. Not opening the windows in this case.
Thank you. In hospital, it's struggling to evacuation the people. I think not allowed to. We cannot evacuate the people or the patient from the hospital to outside. If the fire finished or extinguished, finished, after the fire, how can I exit the smoke from the smoke? By corridor, I think we reflect all
I see your point. I see your point. Because we, just like you said, when we cannot open the windows, we should prepare the separating system. It is hard to make in already built hospitals. When we are designing the new hospitals and we are rebuilding them and making new systems for or preparing them for the new regulations, we can prepare those ventilation systems as well. Actually, just like my friend says, this is only a controller. This device will only control. It's only the rest part about the difference of the pressure, put fresh air and remove it by a special ventilation ducts for the fire condition. They need to be prepared separately. Yes, this is about the designing. Every country, same as we have in Poland, has a special regulations. I guess in Saudi there is Saudi Kingdom. There is also a special regulation for such.
Our country is struggling with the smoke management, especially in the prison and in the hospitals. Because this is the greatest evacuation, or evacuate the people inside. How can I keep the smoke smoothly to outside of the building?
Maybe a good solution at the design stage would be to design in every single room where are patients in the hospital a dedicated window that can be open only in case of the fire, only for the fire purposes. No one else and any time could open it. With the actuator that is controlled by the UCS panel.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
To establish protecting smoke management.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
I would also add one information. In Poland, we are obligated to use fire smoke controller. Every residential building which is higher than 3 stages is required to have smoke extraction controller on the stairways. We are required in every building in Poland. This is our national regulation for the stairways. But the hospitals, stairways as well, but the roofs, I got no idea.
NFB and ICC. NFB and ICC. We follow
Well, really?
To design the proper way.
I don't think so.
You see steam of that running.
Huh?
How can you?